Chris, I'm just going to ask you, what was the scene from this movie what made you have to look away?
And donuts. We sell donuts.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Blood and Donuts. I am Tony.
And I'm Chris. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Here at the Blood and Donuts podcast, we'll start by sharing an overview, facts, and our first impressions. Then we head into our rating before we go into a scene-by-scene discussion that is just full of spoilers. But don't worry, we'll tell you. We'll let you know before we do that. Chris, tell them how our rating works.
We rank our movies on a donut scale 1 through 13. 1 through 4 is terrible, and we're not going to recommend that to you at all. 5 through 8 is kind of like a mid-range. It's worth a rent if you have time. Not terrible, but it's also not great. A 9 through 12 is great. You'll definitely want to check out a 9 through 12. And 13, Tony, that's our Baker's Dozens here. It's pretty rare, but it is a masterclass of a horror film and possibly considered one of the best of all time.
Today we're talking about Evil Dead 2013. Evil Dead is a 2013 American supernatural horror film directed by Fede Alvarez. The story follows a group of 5 people under attack by deadites in a remote cabin in the woods, dubbed a reimagining of The Evil Dead. Got to put that "the" on there, from 1981. The film is the 4th installment in the Evil Dead film series.
Yeah, it kind of brings it back. And I mean, obviously this is a reimagining, a remake, if you will. It's definitely not a sequel, because by the time you got to the 3rd one, it was more goofy than it was serious.
You loved that 3rd one. You loved
I did.
Army of Darkness. We didn't know about it. We knew about we went to the movie store. We rented Evil Dead, fell in absolute love, and then we had to run back to the store as quick as possible and get Evil Dead 2. And then it was like weeks, maybe months later, that we found out that there was an actual 3rd one that was called Army of Darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to say that I just bought it outright. There was no renting. There was nothing. I just straight up bought it. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and this is the 3rd one it had to grow on us. And I remember you liking it before I did. You're like, and maybe because you owned it, so you were like on the 3rd one. You're like, Tony, it's pretty funny if you just kind of if you kind of take it at what it was. And again, it was like a PG-13. It didn't have the gore that I was looking for in an Evil Dead movie, but it is funny. It is.
Name's Ash. Housewares.
And so it took me 4 watches before I was like, you know what, this is a good movie for what it is. And it's one that I've had in the back of my mind that I think I want to watch with the boys. I got 2 kids who are teenagers. I think they would love it.
Yeah, oh yeah, I bet they would. It's just, more claymation, stuff like that. It's just a funny watch. But this one, boy, this really ups the blood and gore, doesn't it? I think they use so many gallons of blood in this one.
Yeah, this is a very serious reimagining of The Evil Dead, and Sam Raimi, I believe, is quoted as saying this is the film that he wanted to make, but
and it's outrageous, just like the first one was.
Didn't have the budget to make way back in 1981, right?
Really? Yeah. So didn't he have a hand in this movie at all? Or
yeah,
no?
yeah. What's cool about this film is Bruce Campbell, obviously Ash, and Sam Raimi are both producers on this film, so they helped make this happen. Nice. And you got Fede Alvarez, who is in his directorial debut, and I think he did. I think he did a fantastic job. This is actually, Chris, one of my favorite remakes.
Really?
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, great remake. And then, of course, this one from 2013. When I watched it, I was blown away by it. I loved it back in 2013 when it first came out. And it was so cool getting to revisit for this podcast. But I'm interested. You had never watched it. You hadn't seen it. I'm interested to see what you thought. What was your initial reaction?
Well, I think that as I was watching it, I was kind of like, I've seen this before, but vaguely remembered it, right? I remember the main character, and of course, it's not Bruce Campbell, obviously, but, I remembered the main character and I remembered his sister, but I don't really remember much else about it. So I feel like I might have watched parts of it. It really ups that gore factor, and you can tell that they had the budget to kind of do whatever they wanted with this one. And I'm glad that Raimi was able to see his vision through, being a producer.
Yeah. And again, you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's a mixed bag of reviews of how people took this film. And I go back to me watching that third Army of Darkness and it not being what I expected. And I think a lot of hardcore Evil Dead fans, went to this, and they didn't have Bruce Campbell. It wasn't slapstick. There was no funny, there was a little bit of comedy in this one, but it's very, very, just a tinge of that. What did you think about that initial setup? This group of close friends and family going out to the old cabin to help Mia, this drug addict, detox.
I like the premise of it because otherwise it's just 5 friends on a camping trip. At least they gave this group of people a meaning and a purpose, and they had a goal. And the reason they didn't want to leave is because they wanted to keep her. Hey, last time she was coming down, she wanted to go get a fix, so we're not going to let her leave and stuff like that. And she's just toying with you to get her to leave. So I feel like it had some staying power there, where they're like, hey. Of course, they found out later that they can't leave, but at first they don't want to leave because they're trying to help their main character through her addiction.
I agree, because if I'm at that creepy cabin and the wind blows just a branch and it barely tickles the window and I hear it, I'm out of there.
We gone.
I'm gone. And so again, they go down to the basement. They see those parts. There's a bad smell. I would have been gone an hour before. So the fact that they're there for Mia, they love her. They want her to live a long, fruitful life, and she's there to detox. It does give them a reason to stay, and you need it because again, I would have been gone. A long
what's
time.
The point?
You said they didn't do any CGI in this film, and Fede Alvarez, knew a lot about CGI. So I love that they use practical effects. I feel like we're on repeat when we say this, but practical effects is what horror films are all about. And this one has some doozies, like you said, gallons and gallons of blood and gore. It was.
Yeah, I forgot the number, but it was up there.
Yeah, it was crazy. Some of these scenes, oh my goodness. What did you think about, so in that original 1981, they had that tree rip scene. What did you think about what they did instead with this one?
Yeah, this was more like a tree making love scene. It wasn't, it was fine.
It kind of like trapped her, and then there was some darkness that kind of entered her in that type of way.
The girl from The Ring shows up and then spits something out, and then it crawls up her leg and up her dress, all that. But yeah, I feel like, so, you had several throwbacks. I was missing one though, not gonna lie. I was missing my, We're Gonna Get You.
Shut up.
Yeah,
wasn't in there. I missed that one.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of those demon voices sounded a lot like 1981. When especially when there's a wind, an evil wind that blows through the house, and you hear the I can't even. Do it, but it's we're going, you hear them talking. I was like, that sounds very similar to the original, but you're right. When Ash's girlfriend in 1981 gets the demon, gets the evil, and she becomes a deadite, she says that we're gonna get you. That they should have.
It still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, I would have liked for them to. I agree. I would have liked for them to put this in this film, but again, they were trying to be there. They did some things that things up a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And real quick, back on that last point, I want to say that they used the voice for when she says, "You're all gonna die in here."
Yeah.
They used the lady's voice from the original film, and she recorded over that. So it's kind of like two voices talking.
That's
so you
cool.
can hear the original and the remake at the same time. So that was pretty cool.
You're all going to die tonight.
You are all going to die tonight.
3 or 4 voices saying it.
Yeah, one of them was the original. So I thought that was a cool callback too.
That is pretty cool. I like that.
But yeah, you're right. They really reimagined a lot of stuff, and you could see all of the subtle callbacks. The necklace being in the shape of a skull later on. The tree rape scene, the blood in the light bulb. Right, that was there briefly.
Yep. The Ash's car. Did you see that? His abandoned car.
Yeah.
Under a tree. I thought that was cool. So, and when I looked to see if I was looking to research, like, was this supposed to be those sequels? One of those previous Evil Deads left off? Is this from the future? And I found an interview where he said it continues the first one. The coincidences on events between the first film and mine are not coincidences, but they're more like dark fate created by the evil book. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of like 30 years into the future, but it still kind of has the same tones of what happened originally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was originally supposed to be NC-17.
Yes.
Sam Raimi was gung-ho for that, but the studio talked him down and said, hey, let's have an R rating so it has a wider release so it could, see more audiences.
Absolutely. Do they ever put NC-17 in movie theaters? I don't remember seeing one like that.
Yeah, I don't either. I can't remember the last time I've seen one in theaters.
I'm going to try a new segment. How about this? Call this segment, Please Look Away. Okay, and in this segment, Chris, I'm just going to ask you, what was the scene from this movie where it made you have to look away?
Ooh, where I had to?
Where you just had to look away, or if you didn't, if you're just like I don't have to look away. I'm so seasoned.
No.
I'm such a avid horror fan. I don't have to look away. Then just give me the one that grossed you out the most.
The one that grossed me out the most was probably the hand trapped under a car at the end.
Was it? Yeah.
It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, hand ripping off at the end.
Mine was razor blade through a tongue.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
You know what I'm talking about? Like she's down in the basement. She's licking that razor blade.
Yeah.
Or like a box cutter or something like that. I was just like, to be honest, I don't know fully what happened because I looked away.
You weren't thinking like double the fun? You weren't thinking anything like that?
Nope. Not at all.
All right.
Is that what you were thinking?
Maybe a little bit.
More facts on this film?
No, not anything that's cool or relevant. If you take the first letters of all the main characters, David, Eric, Mia, Olivia, and Natalie, they spell out demon.
Demon. Ooh, I like that.
I might cut that out.
Now I'm going to jump into my rating before we go into a spoiler scene-by-scene review, and we talk about this film a little bit. Like I said, this is my favorite remake, that horror remake, other than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. I would give this a coin flip, and maybe and again, there's other films too that maybe I didn't even know it was a remake at the time, like House on Haunted Hill. I mean, stuff like that. I didn't know. 13 Ghosts. I don't know about that stuff. Anyway, this is one that I feel like it had the fan in mind. It didn't hurt my feelings. I feel like it did a lot of fan service, and it even there was scenes in this where it showed you a chainsaw, and you thought you knew who was going to use that chainsaw just based on your previous knowledge of the other movies. So it was for the fan, and it kind of tricked you in that way because things didn't work out like you thought they were. I thought the gore was awesome. I thought the actors did okay. Some of the dialogue in the beginning was a little like, I was just like, oh God, here we go. But again, so is Evil Dead, you know? I mean, what do you do? I mean, it's just, you're like, here we go. 5 people out to a cabin, you know, is what it is. I like how they brought Sam Raimi in, Bruce Campbell. There were some things that I didn't like. I don't like the Deadites' eyes. There the contact lenses that were used there. I like the white contact lens that's used on the previous Deadites from the older films. Yeah. Call me old fashioned.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I don't like the new contact lens. The ending was good. Acting was good. We're going to get into it here in a minute. I'm going to give this an 11 out of 13. I think it's a great remake. Evil Dead 2013. It's scary. It's gross. I haven't seen a horrible Evil Dead movie yet, and we have yet to see Evil Dead Rise. We need to put that in the mix and make sure that we see that as well.
Yeah, let's do that. So I'll jump into mine here. Again, some of it mirrors yours. Love the effects. I even like some of the jump scares. I thought they were good. The pacing was good. You kind of start out with a banger of back in the day, and it kind of just gives you this start of, boy, this is going to be a gore fest just right off the bat. And I think Evil Mia is a great villain throughout. I mean, the mirror scene, the final chase, all that stuff was done really well. Really the only con I have, but it's unfortunately a pretty big one. And, forgive me, but the dumb decisions by the characters, it really took me kind of out of the element. I was less worried about what was going on and more like questioning their choices. It's like, hey, don't read this. And dude's like, Namano Necto. I mean, he's like, it's like, dude, what are you? Come on. I get it. You got to progress it along. But at least in the original, they just like played a tape. They didn't know what they were doing and stuff happened. In this one here, he's like, oh, don't read this. You mean this right here? And he just goes. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 13.
All right, okay.
I almost went with a 10, but I've got to stick to my morals here. It's a 9 for me. I do appreciate the gore. I appreciate all the effects. And the story in its core is good, but just those dumb decisions just really take me out of the movie experience. And I'm just like, what the hell are they doing? So it's going to be a 9 out of 13 for me, Tony.
And I agree with that. When they play that tape, it is so effective in 1981. And you see you're following along by his audio records, this scientist, and he's just like, I'm going to have to decapitate her or something like that. Like it talks about like that's the only way to kill them, and he says he says the words. He says what you just said, that those Latin words. It seems like this guy from the 2013 film, he looked at them, scratched it, and got the pronunciation right off the bat. Like dude was just like on it. I was just like, oh, okay. But
while he's ignoring the don't open this book, don't read these words, don't like. What are you doing? It's like telling him every step of the way to stop.
He rips it's like in a bag, and he rips open the bag, and then there's barbed wire around it, and he's clipping the barbed wire. He's really wanting to see this book. He gets to it. It's hilarious. All right, if you have not seen this film, we are about to go through a scene-by-scene spoiler review of it. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I had to buy it, though. I had to buy it on YouTube. It cost me $3.99, $4.99, I forget, just for an HD. Where did you watch it?
Amazon. Yep, it was like $3.99, and it was $4.99 to buy it. So I thought that was weird.
Well, might as well just go ahead and buy it, right?
All right.
All right, guys. Here come the spoils. A girl is tied up in the cellar of a remote cabin where an old woman is reciting incantations from a strange book in the Welsh language. The girl reveals her demonic possession, and her father Harold sets her ablaze and then shoots her dead. I love you, baby.
But I love how she's just like, Daddy, please don't. And then she's like, you're going to rot, you motherfucker. It's like, I was like, oh, geez.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Classic.
It's really fun. I mean, it's just like she's just doused in gasoline, and he's just like lights her on fire. And then she starts like, before she gets lit up on fire, And I could kind of tell. I was like, okay, she's really possessed, and they're rightfully scared.
Yeah. Running through the woods, and she's like falling, all this stuff. And then you got some like rednecks looking dudes with shotguns who like kind of like, hey, come on, you're coming with it. And you're you're sitting there like, oh God, you know, you're like scared for her. You feel like the bad guys got her, but then they hit you with the old 1-2, you know, get you set up for like what's about to happen, you know. Sometime later, David Allen and his girlfriend Natalie arrive at the cabin with their dog Grandpa, where they meet his estranged younger sister Mia. Not Grandpa, but David. And their friends Eric and Olivia. The group plans to stay in the cabin while Mia overcomes her heroin addiction. Mia begins having withdrawal symptoms. David discovers that the cabin's cellar is littered with rotting animal corpses, a worn double-barrel shotgun, and a book called the Necronomicon, or Naturom de Monto, which
That's Latin there, Tony.
Is
that Welsh?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, and again, I like the premise. I like the setup. Hey, we're here on a detox. You know, the estranged brother comes, and apparently they own this cabin, right? Like this is their old retreat or something.
Yeah, and David's been it's an old retreat. David's been gone for a long time. Turns out Mia and David's mom had cancer or something like that, and she died, and David was kind of gone for the treatments, and he didn't see her, and Mia holds a grudge because she's like, I had to deal with this on my own. You should have been there, man. And this is like
what's he gonna do?
Yeah, this is this is their mom's childhood cabin, or like a vacation spot or something like that. And it's a little bit run down, but at the same time, it's also the same cabin that Ash and his friends came to back 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah. I missed the dead cats in the cellar on the original, but again, the budget wasn't there to hang a bunch of dead cats up.
Yeah.
Because, Mia's like, I can't stand the smell. Something says smells like dead in here.
I like that.
Everybody's like, oh boy, she wants to leave. She wants to get out of here.
Yeah,
and then Grandpa, the dog, starts scratching at the carpet. And it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool.
Finds the cats.
I like that. I thought that was cool. The smell, they talking about the smell. There was no smell in the first one, like you said. So
no budget for smell in the first one.
That wasn't in there. That's right. I bet if there was heroin, you'd like that smell. That's what they were like. If there was a syringe full of heroin, then would you be smelling that? You wouldn't even care.
Get a little toot.
Yeah, get you a little toot. Get you a little toot of heroin. Can you toot heroin?
I don't think so. I think that's cocaine.
Can I just apologize for anybody who has a heroin addiction? And if you do, I say get help. But
get help. Yeah, reach out.
We are ignorant, and we don't know anything about heroin. So anyway, we're from Tennessee. Yep. We just we only mess with meth around here. We are not. I'm joking. Eric reads an incantation from the book. That's very smart. Awakening a malevolent force, Mia begins seeing a demonic doppelganger of herself in the woods. She steals Eric's car to leave, but crashes it into a pond. The force chases her into the woods, where vines trap her. Mia's doppelganger possesses her via the vines.
If only she was in a foreign country and they could just doppelgang her and then kill her original self. And no way, I'm sorry.
That's another big. That's Us by directed by Peele. Sorry.
No, that's Infinity Pool.
You could. There's that too. There's a lot of doppelganger horror movies out there, isn't there?
Right. I mean, this last paragraph just used the word doppelganger, so it immediately made me think of Infinity Pool.
It made me think of Us.
Eric, do what?
It made me think of Us.
It made you think of Us. Yeah. Episode 6 in our podcast queue. Go check that out. What about Eric being the biggest tool bag in any horror movie?
You think so?
He's just such a douche. Oh my gosh.
So? Yeah,
he's the worst. He's like he literally had to pry open this Glad garbage bag, snip some barbed wire, open up the flesh book, read past all the blood scrawlings to summon the evil entity. What a jerk.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I want to believe that it wasn't him. It was the demonic forces that were making this happen.
Is that what you think?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah,
You want to believe that?
the whole time he was doing that, I was like, what a freaking idiot, dude. But it is an Evil Dead movie, so you want that to happen. I mean, obviously you don't want you don't want the book to just stay.
What are they just going to sit around and let Mia cure her addiction and then roll credits?
We'd be so mad. We'd be like, man, I like the cabin and all. I just wish somebody would have died. She just kind of
something bad would have happened other than the girl getting her head blown off in the beginning. This was a real dud.
So you do have some character development here. Not much, like you said. We don't learn a lot about Eric. We do learn that one of the girls is a nurse, and she's been through this before. And what's cool is here in a minute we're going to read that the demon force is smart enough to just kill her off first. You know, the most useful person in the cabin, right?
Right. And what about Natalie, David's girlfriend, just not in the movie at all until she gets possessed?
We didn't really mention that, weird. But she was just kind of off. Yeah. Well, she has nails in her face at one point, and she's like lays in his lap with nails all in her face, which I would have been like, ugh, get off of me. And where in the original film, when they would harken back and they'd be like, Ash, I think I'm better now. Please, I'm okay. Get me out. Let me out of this cellar. They would have their face would be back to normal, you know. But in this one, she was just still dripping with blood, nails in her face. And
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I'm going to talk about that soon too when we get there.
I'm just skipping, ain't I? Skipping around. Hey, audience, I just want to go ahead and remind you that we are also on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your audio podcasts. So follow us there so you can listen to us at the gym on your commute to work. We also want to be your friend. So follow us on Instagram. Be our friend, you know? I get tons. Yeah, check us out. I get tons of questions every week. Where do you get the swag? Where do you get the freaking Blood and Donuts iconic hat? Where do you get the stickers? All that stuff. We have a spread shop. The link is in the description. Every video that we come out, every audio podcast, just look in that description, click on spread shop, and all of that is available to you. David finds grandpa beaten to death. Okay, so anyway, Mia comes back from this. We got to talk about that crash a little bit. She was driving. She was trying to leave. In the original, you remember the bridge was out. They're not going to let us leave. They're not going to let us leave. In this, she's driving and she just keeps saying herself, a demon version of herself in the distance. And she almost hits her. So she has to doesn't she have to swerve to not hit her?
Yeah. She swerves and drives right into a pond.
Yeah, and then the pond, there's a hand coming up, and she sees that demon version of herself, and again, she gets caught in the vines, and not as graphic of a as in the beginning as in the first one, but there's definitely something there. And then she comes back, and everybody gets her back, and she's telling her brother David, she's like, "Hey, you got to get me out of here. You got to get me out of here." And he's just like, yeah, because you want heroin.
Right. Everybody knows this. Yeah. And this is where, at least this is at some point where it's there's a reason to stay. Everyone is telling David, dude, she does this every time. Yeah. This is the 14th time she's tried to come down from heroin. She does that all the time.
Yeah. Your sister sucks, dude. That's what
she's doing. The old, I got by a tree gag again. Come on, Mia.
If I had a dime for every time Mia said, I've been raped by a tree and saw my demon doppelganger in the forest, I'd have a lot of money. I'd be a rich man. David finds Grandpa beaten to death with a hammer and discovers Mia scalding herself in the shower. Talk about that scene a little bit.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, Grandpa's a dog, so
don't get confused.
It sounds weird when you say Grandpa's beaten to death.
What if they believe it? What do they believe in? What is it called? Reincarnation? Or maybe they really think that that's their grandpa.
That could be. But anyway, that's weird.
Just joking.
But yeah, the scalding scene. What'd you think of that, man? Where she's just I think David's trying to come in and peep at his sister,
No,
shower
he's
or something like
not.
that?
No, he's not.
What?
She's in
Oh,
there.
he's checking on her. Okay.
What's cool in the Necronomicon, this one uses that book a lot more than the original. So I do like that because it like focuses in on pages, like different chapters and things that happen throughout a demon possession, evil night, thing. And one of those things is the scalding of water, the scalding in this water type thing. And I don't, was it just so hot or is it just like as a deadite, you can't handle water? I don't know what it is exactly. Do you?
No, it showed like the little water heater, and it was like practically on fire,
Okay.
so it was warming up the
So
water.
the evil,
she was like boiling herself alive.
Yeah. So and it was just burning the crap out of her, and she wouldn't open the door, and they're beating on it and everything. And he's already pissed because he thinks that Mia, out just pissed off at him, went out back and just beat the crap out of Grandpa and killed him. At night, a possessed Mia wounds David with the shotgun and vomits red bile into Olivia's face before Eric locks her in the basement. A possessed Olivia mutilates her face and stabs Eric with a hypodermic needle before he bludgeons her to death. Mia lures Natalie into the cellar and bites her hand before slicing her own tongue. David helps Natalie escape.
That might be my second look away or don't look away scene is when dude is getting stabbed through the glasses with a needle.
Oh man, and it's just like yeah, it's relentless, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't. I think
good.
I think he got his glasses off in time though, where his eyeballs didn't get stabbed. Is that correct?
He caught one in the lower eye.
Okay, that's what
sack,
right.
if you will. Yeah.
The lower
that's what they
eye,
call it.
Lower eye sack. That's that's exactly.
When you
right.
have sacks under your eyes in the morning.
Oh my god. Yeah. So she wounds David with a shotgun. She vomits this red bile right into Olivia's face. That's pretty disgusting. Yeah. And then
you really hate when that happens.
Yeah. And they kind of have to toss her down into the basement. And then that's when she starts getting really weird, down there.
Cuts her tongue.
Yeah. She cuts
in
her
that last sentence she just read.
There's like this box cutter and she's like, and it's slicing it right open. Eric explains that per the book, the taker of souls must claim 5 souls to unleash the abomination. Natalie's arm becomes possessed and she why can't I say that? Amputates it. Mia must be purified by live burial, dismemberment, or burning. The now possessed Natalie attacks the pair with a nail gun, but David shoots her other arm off. Natalie bleeds to death from her injury. Natalie is David's little girlfriend, little side piece. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is the most noise she's made in this entire movie.
Yeah.
She's there with a nail gun.
She's there just
she does some damage with that thing.
She really does. First off,
she's not wearing the proper PPE for that.
No, she didn't have safety glasses on. She didn't have any of that. She shot herself in the face a couple times, and then she started shooting other people in the face. She loved it so much that she was just like, "I want you to feel how good this is."
Yeah, she's like, "Well, this is fun. Let's go spread the joy."
So good, and so like she's dead at this point.
Oh yeah. I thought she was dead when she cut off her arm. She lost so much blood.
When you have that evil in you, though, you last a little.
You got to get the deadite out.
The deadite. David begins dousing the cabin in gasoline. What is his plan? But he decides to bury Mia instead. He digs a grave, but Mia attempts to drown him, and Eric is fatally stabbed, saving him. There you go. There's Eric's redemption. You said he sucked. There's his redemption, Chris.
He probably did it in a stupid way, too.
It was so stupid the way he did it.
Stupid the way he saved someone.
David sedates and buries Mia, but after hearing her heartbeat stop, digs her back up and attempts to resuscitate her. He finds Mia alive and enters the cabin to retrieve his car keys. But there's Eric, possessed, corpse, and he stabs him. David shoots the gasoline can, killing himself and Eric. And he kind of Mia coming back alive. That was
well, firstly, Eric just unredeemed himself and became a tool again. But how many times is David gonna fall for the old "I'm your real sister" gag? Like she's done it like 3 times so far, right? And he's just like, "Oh, maybe it's real this time.
This time,
Let me dig her up and give her mouth to mouth." He's been wanting to give her mouth to mouth this whole movie. He tried to peep on her in the shower. He's confused. He's not in a a little stepsister video or whatever. He's in a movie.
he was correct.
She's not stuck in the washing machine.
But he was correct about burying her, and he brought her back to life. What was he doing with those syringes and the battery and everything? And just like
That's a great question. I was just laughing and asking my wife, like, what the F is he doing? Because, like, he sees a chainsaw and he's like, nope, don't want that. And he looks up and sees a battery and he's like, I know. I'll, like, get some syringes, duct tape them together, hook them up to this car battery and use it as a, chest paddles.
Yeah.
Defibrillator.
exactly the whole time though, which again, the whole time you're thinking he's the end character. He's going to be the Bruce Campbell. He's going to be the Ash in this, and because it shows that chainsaw, and you're like, oh, that alludes to the fact that he's going to use that a little bit later, and but he doesn't. But Mia does in that final act, which we talk about here in a second. And he kind of like, she's like, no, don't do it. And he kind of locks her out of the house, and he shoots that gasoline can, killing himself and kind of redeeming himself because he's been gone for so long. But he unknowingly sets forth the abomination by killing himself.
Yes, because I guess Mia's soul counted.
It shouldn't,
is that right?
It shouldn't have, but yeah, technically, I guess it did.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
She got her soul back, but it was gone for a minute, so they counted it.
Splitting hairs here. We're splitting souls.
With David's death being the 5th, blood begins to rain from the sky, and the abomination attacks Mia as her demonic doppelganger. Mia severs the abomination's leg with a chainsaw, but it overturns David's Jeep, landing on her left arm, crushing it in the process. After Mia's hand gets torn off from her freeing herself, she bisects the abomination's head with a chainsaw before it sinks back into the ground, and then the rain stops, and exhausted Mia leaves, unaware that the Necronomicon is still intact.
So this is the second time she's bisected something. First it was her tongue, and then it was the abomination's head.
Yes, that is true.
I'm pretty sure that I can suspend my disbelief up to this point. I believe that she would have bled out if she did not cauterize that hand.
I don't think you've ever
call me old fashioned.
I don't think you've ever seen an Evil Dead movie. Ash should have died. They all should have died. Ash gets scratched and doesn't turn into. He doesn't even turn demon. I don't know. There's a lot. You're not supposed to. You can't answer all these questions. I was a little let down by the abomination not being that abominable. You know, I think I would have liked a better final boss, and she was taken out pretty easily. The abomination, which is set, it's raining blood, and the abomination's kind of just crawling on the ground. You know, it's just her, and it's crawling on the ground, and it's not that impressive.
Yeah, I know, and you say we can't answer all these questions, but you saying that just made me think of a few more I'll get to in a second. But yeah, it's just evil Mia again. I mean, it's been her this whole time, and now it's like, here she is, IRL, she's just out there.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering about the bloody rain forecast. What coverage is that at? How far spread is this evil blood rain?
I think it's localized. I think it's localized.
It's local.
Yeah, it's just
maybe just a flash flood warning of blood in the local area.
Yeah, I don't think in the town down there with the Piggly Wiggly and everything, I don't think they got blood rain. I think it was pretty much just localized to that cabin.
Localized. Cabin. Okay.
Yeah. Because this evil is not, it's not on Hitler's level. It only wants 5 souls. Where Hitler was like, give me 7 million, give me 8 million. I'm going to kill all of them. This one only wants 5. You know, this demon's like, he's like, I'm cool with just a cabin full of kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just give
me
me
a cabin full of teens, and
give me about 7 acres out here. You know, round.
I want to use some blood rain to harvest my crops.
Yeah, and I'll haunt I'll haunt this little area for decades to come.
Question
yes.
for you. Is Evil Dead Rise, is it a sequel to this movie? Or is it just its own standalone thing?
I don't know. I've heard good things about it, but I don't know. Now, this one, Evil Dead Rise, I think takes it out of the cabin. They go to a high rise.
Ooh, they're in the city now. Ooh, snap.
Evil Dead in the city. So we'll have to watch that and see if it's any good. Did you see the post-credit scene?
I didn't, but I read about it.
I'm kind of glad I didn't. Anyway, it's just older Ash Williams and his signature catchphrase "groovy," which didn't make sense for this, but whatever.
Yeah, not really. He's not in the movie, so why would you have him in there? But love Ash. He's a cultural icon. You can't be mad at him for just being at the very end there, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm okay seeing an Evil Dead movie without Ash, without Bruce Campbell. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I like a good people go hard on remakes. They're like, well, you didn't have to remake it. You didn't have to remake it. And there's some like Psycho shot for shot remake with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
but I'm not against slapping a new coat of paint, changing up some characters, and doing some new things as long as it's done well and not a whole bunch of CGI. I'm okay with a good remake.
Yeah. I mean, you need to keep the base, story premise. It doesn't have to be the same story exactly, but I thought it did well here for reimagining the original The Evil Dead, which is one of our favorites. But I thought it did okay in keeping the spirit of it for sure. I mean, and it definitely had to help when you had Sam on the production team.
I liked it. I thought it was a great horror movie. I think everybody should watch it, man. What kind of horror films do we have coming up?
So we're going to continue our remakes this month.
Remakes May.
Remakes. For May. We have It Chapter 1 from 2017. That is coming up. It's been a minute. We have not done any Friday the 13th, so we'll be doing the original here in a few weeks.
All right.
Yeah, well, I guess we're still in remakes.
Yes. All right, man. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Take care, everybody. Thanks.